Hi, good morning. Welcome to Traffic Light Tarts today. So come on and say hello if you're joining me for Pastry Week for our savoury tarts today. You all did so well with your chia jam tarts. They looked amazing. So I know I'm here a little bit early just so you guys can all find me and you're all in time and I can tell you about any substitutes. So these are the tarts that we're making today. So lots of lovely little traffic light veggie tarts. Oh, don't want to slip them off the plate. And they're going to be amazing if you haven't had breakfast, or they're lovely for lunch. The weather looks fantastic, so you can have them outside for a picnic. Hi, Lizzie and Sophie. Good morning. And I know some of you have got some questions on substitutes, so don't worry if you couldn't get the pastry. I'm going to go through that. Hi, Bilal. Good morning. Hi, Mohammed. Lovely to see you guys. And I'm going to go through all the ingredients. Do not worry. No problem at all. Oh, Bilal, sorry. I got you there twice, didn't I? Okay, I'm just going to say good morning. And they smell amazing, I have to say. And you can use up whatever veggies you've got in the fridge as well. So if you've got stuff you want to use up or you want to put some meat in it, that's fine. You could use phyllo pastry or you could use wraps is what I've suggested to some people that couldn't get any pastry, or short crust pastry, whatever. Hi, Imogen. I know they're good. Hi, Rebecca. Hi, Hayden. It's lovely to see you all. Hi, Theo and Becky. You're going to love these today. They're probably actually easier than the other pastry tarts we did the other day because we're using, well, those of you that can get it, we're using ready-made shop-bought puff pastry, which is super easy to roll out. Really, really easy. And it's always a good one. You can keep these in the freezer as well. But those of you that got phyllo, that's fine. If you've got phyllo, you'll want a little brush and some oil. And those of you that got wraps, that's also fine. Do not worry. Anything goes this morning. So, good morning, Yvonne. Yvonne's got wraps, I know, so that's fine. So let me tell you what you need, and then you can get all of that ready, and then if you've got any questions, you can just ask. So if you've got the puff pastry, you want this kind of stuff. This is just roll. You might have an own supermarket brand. Hi, Faye. If you've got, hi, Persephone, if you've got ready rolled that comes like flat and you don't need to roll it very much, that's also fine. Can you use any type of mustard? Yes. Mustard, I'm just using the Dijon one, which is this kind of light yellow. It's more as flavouring, but I've also got some salt and pepper, and if you don't want to put mustard in, you don't need to. If you don't have this pastry, then phyllo pastry would be good, or if you've got any wraps, you know, sandwich wraps, tortillas, that kind of thing, that's good. Morning, Hannah. And then I'm using traffic light veggies. So you know the colours of traffic lights. So for my green, I've got some peas. So I've just taken those from the freezer. For my yellow, I've got some sweet corn. I've actually got more than traffic light colours. I thought I'd have some red in there as well. So I've got some red pepper, and I've also got some orange carrot. So you can have whatever you want, really. The tarts on Wednesday were amazing. They were. I know some of you had leftover jam, lucky you, and that's delicious on like spread on toast, just like regular jam, or it's kind of like a compote, so you can have it with ice cream, you can have it with yogurt. It's amazing. I'm so glad you like those. And these are easier because we're just using ready-made pastry, okay? So lots of little veggies. Then you're going to need some cheese. Hi, Ria. Hi, Pavan. I've used cheddar cheese, but whatever cheese you've got, if you've got Parmesan or you've got red Leicester or anything like that you can grate. And if you don't want to put cheese in, or you're vegan and you want to put vegan cheese in, this is good. And what else? Then a couple of eggs. Now, those of you, if you are going vegan, what I would suggest is use tofu and just blitz it up. A bit like you've probably done a kind of scrambled tofu egg, so that's the same kind of thing. And then those of you that asked, I'm going to use some mustard as a bit of flavouring, but you don't need to. Hi, James. Are you going to be making them later? That's perfect. And I've got some salt and pepper, so it's just really a bit of seasoning if you want to. Hi, Joe. Good morning. And a bit of milk, really, or if you've got any cream or creme fraiche or yogurt or anything you want to use up in the fridge like that, that's fine. So basically the eggs and the milk or the liquid is going to make a little custard, and that's what's going to go in our tart. So if I show you these, you'll see here. So here's my lovely tart. So there's all my pastry case. And then inside you can see, sneaking away, all those little veggies that are all camouflaged in there. Morning, Jaden. Hi, Natalie. Alfie is ready. Good. So that's what you need. So if, as I said, if you've got wraps or you've got phyllo, that's fine. If you're using phyllo, get some oil out because we'll brush it. If you're using wraps, you're going to do the same thing. So to cut out the circles, apart from those of you using phyllo, a cutter, or you might want some scissors, rolling pin, and a nice jam tart tray, okay? And if you don't have a jammed, I like the metal. If you don't have a jam tart tray, then just use like a fairy cake tin or something like that you can just hold them in, because we're going to pour some liquid. Good morning. Hi, Mary. And then we're going to need a little jug. That's really important to do our pouring. If you don't have a jug, then just use a bowl with a spout, because we're going to pour in our egg custard. And I think that's about it. You might want a little bit of flour just for your pastry rolling in case it sticks, okay? So that's about it, and I've got a little set of scales and obviously my knife for doing some chopping. So before we kick off, your pastry is frozen. You'll need to defrost your pastry. It doesn't take very long in this weather, Joe, so maybe just watch now, leave the pastry out on the side. But if you've got phyllo or you've got wraps and you want to do a couple now with that instead, then you can do that, whatever you want to do really, okay? Good. Now the other little thing that I've got, which is not mandatory, but helps us not get a soggy bottom, which is good for pastry week, it's this stuff called polenta. And if I put a bit in my hand, you might know what vegetable this comes from. We've used this before. It's kind of yellow. Can you see there? Hi, Lizette. Morning. And it comes from a vegetable I've actually got here, a yellow vegetable. Does anybody know what it is? Hi, Alexandra. Nice to see you too. It's from sweet corn, and you can actually cook it up with some hot water and stuff, and it sets. It looks like mashed potato, and it's really yummy. So you can eat it like mashed potato, or you can spread it and let it set into wedges, and you can use it like a pizza base. But I'm going to just sprinkle some at the bottom of my tins so that I don't get a soggy bottom, but it's optional. But next time you go to the supermarket, you might get some of this because it's really good when you do pastry. Okay, so like I said, this is what we're making. I'm going to put these to one side. And we're going to do all the prep work first. So we're going to chop our veggies. Can you have a shout out? Bondon Poncon, of course you can. Corn, Lizette, you got it. You got it. It's really, really good. I use it. I mean, I don't really cook polenta that much, so I just use it for pastry. So if you're doing salmon en croûte or beef Wellington or everything like that. Persephone is right as well. You don't have polenta. You don't need to use anything. It's fine. Puff pastry is really pretty easy to work with, but it's just a little top tip from me. So for next time. So I've got sweet corn and peas that I don't need to do anything with, so I'm just going to put that onto one side. Morning, Megan and Elsie. And I'm going to cook with some peppers and some carrots, okay? So I'm going to show you, so you can see I've already, to do mine this morning, I already had a little cut. So you're just going to hold it. What does Tahira say? Well, semolina, yeah, semolina would work too, actually. You could if you had that. It's not kind of thing that most people have in their cupboards, but it's a good call. Yvonne, you are right. Corn. You have made similar to these before with a slice of ham. Yes, you can do. And you could put ham and other meat in there, anything that you've got cooked veggies in there. Perfect. You asked for corn flour. Oh, okay. Corn flour, you could use a small bit. Corn flour is the one that you use for fun science experiments when you mix it with water, and it's that stuff that gets like really hard like a solid and then it kind of gets liquidy again. But usually you add it to a sauce to thicken it up, so like gravies, cheese sauce, stuff like that. So you can use it and you will use it, but not a lot. Hi Zane, good morning. Okay, right, so don't you love it when you go to the supermarket and you ask for something and they give you something else? Anyway, right, so there's my half a pepper. So if you've got a whole pepper, I'll pretend like that. You're going to make your bridge again, pop your knife down the middle and cut it in half. Hey presto. And then with this bit, you're just going to put your fingers in, pull that bit out, take out all of the white bits, and then you're going to run water in there so that we flush out all of those little seeds, okay? So here's one I did earlier. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to milk or double cream, whatever you've got, Stefan. It really doesn't matter. If you've got a bit of creme fraiche or something you're using up as well, that's fine. Hi, Sammy and Alicia. Lovely to see you too. So I'm just going to cut these in thin strips. Now, I'm using my sharp knife, but if you've got that big salad knife as well, that's also fine. So you're going to cut them in nice strips, keeping those fingers away. You can make that bridge again. And then we're just going to cut them into small pieces, really small, like pea size and corn size, because I want everything to be the same size. Can you see there? Lots of little ones. I want everything to be the same size so that it all will fit in my little tart tins. So see how small and fine you can do, because this is week 10 now. Can you believe this? So you've been doing chopping and other things with me for 10 weeks now, so I know that you're going to be super good at it. So there's my nice big bit of pepper, and I'm just going to chop it in tiny pieces, okay. Is half a pepper? Yeah, I'm only using half a pepper. We're only going to put, I've got like 4 different veggies, so we're only going to put a teeny bit, like 2 or 3 pieces in each one. And if you've got a bit of red, but more of the yellow, it doesn't matter. So you can see I'm moving my fingers away, so I'm not chopping any fingers, and I've got lots of lovely little red bits there. But you might not have pepper, or you might have an orange pepper or green pepper, whatever colour you want is fine. You could use broccoli in there, you could do, I don't know, tell me what vegetables you're using. What are you using if you're not using the same ones as me? I know I said it was traffic light, so I'm sure you can come up with some other different coloured veggies that are good. So you can let me know. So we're just going to chop our pepper up, and that was even less than a half, so that's my half, and I had quite a small pepper. So just use whatever you've got really, okay? So I'm going to wait for you guys to chop your pepper if you're doing that, and then you can give me a little thumbs up. And actually you can do the little chefy trick. Shall I show you with the big knife, like some of you have? So if you've got this one, remember we always cut the back end here of the knife. I'm going to put my knife away safely. So you can put it back in the middle, and keeping your finger on the top, you can go like this, up and down like that, and chop them. Get that? Can you hear that? So you can get all of those bits small, and then you can just carefully with your finger use the knife, scrape it all into one corner. Good. You've already chopped it. Maria, you are one step ahead. Okay, good. Now, if you're going to use a carrot, I've got an organic carrot, so I don't really need to peel it, but I'm just going to show you. So I'm going to chop off the top, chop off the bottom, like that. And then it is cool, isn't it? And then with a peeler, remember we're always going to peel away from us, not into our hands. You're going to get it to bite, so those little teeth are in there, and then you're going to pull it away and just peel away all the way down. I'm going to do this in half because I don't want to get peel near my fingers. So I'm peeling half my carrot all the way down. Can you see there? And then this bit here still needs peeling, so I turn it around and do it again. Easy peasy. Just like that. But if you've got nice organic carrots, you don't want to peel them, you don't need to. Alfie is chopping yellow peppers, peas, sweet corn and ham. Good mix. Anybody doing anything more exotic this morning? And you're right, actually, whoever just told me that lovely bit of feedback about the ham, you're right. So if you don't have pastry, what you can do, if you've got like a rasher of bacon or some sandwich meat, it doesn't have to be ham, could be turkey or something, you can basically take it, if I show you, you can kind of take it and wrap it around there. You could do it with a thin slice of courgette as well, actually. So you've kind of made yourself a wall to put all your veggies in, and the eggs will set at the bottom. You could also put it at the bottom too. You could stamp out a little circle. Okay? Perfect. So those of us that are doing carrots, again, remember that that carrot is longer than my knife, so I'm going to chop it in half so it's easier for me to work with. Am I a little bit fast? Okay, I'll slow down. I'll just remind you how we're doing it, and then you can do it in your own time. Perfect. And you're going to make that bridge like that. I'm going to put my knife through the middle, press all the way down. So I've got two pieces. Good morning, Barbara and Ruby. You're on perfect time. We're just chopping our veggies for our little tarts. And then instead of cutting it on the wobbly side, I don't want to cut it like that, do I? I want to cut it on the flat. I'm going to make my bridge again. Can you see like that? Put my choo-choo train through the middle, and I'm going to try and see. I can just chop it this one into 3 pieces. So I've got 3 long slices like that. I'm going to put that down on the table, and then I'm going to do just what I did with my peppers. You can take your time, chop them nice and slowly like this. If you want to be very chefy and you've got that quick bit, remember we're going to chop at the back of the knife, we're going to rock it so we can go like that. So it works even with these ones, okay? Oh, courgette, sweet corn and pepper. Courgettes are nice, and it's a bit like a cucumber, isn't it? It's nice and easy to chop. I like this technique. A bit noisy though, but it's good. So chop all of your things really smally. So, smally? That was a funny word. So bridge, pop your, I'm just doing it this way around so you can see my fingers are away. Pop them into slices like that. And then you've got your nice slices that you can put on the flat. If they're really big, you can actually make a bridge again and cut them even smaller. Cut them into another 2 pieces. Okay, and then you can just chop them up really small. Keep moving those fingers back. So you can see I don't have a lot of veggies of each one, but because I've got quite a lot in total. And then like I said before, hi Sahara, if they're quite big, you can just take your knife and just do that. Remember, carrots are the hardest, so on a knife like this, it's going to be a bit hard. Peas and corn are frozen. They should be okay frozen. And to be honest, actually a little better tip, what I did with mine this morning is I just put them in a little bowl, just put some boiling water over them, left them for a couple of minutes while I was doing something else, and then just drained them off. They don't need to be, the only thing with the frozen is you don't want to have too much liquid. Like you can see, I've got a bit of liquid at the bottom of my bowl, but it's fine. It is fine. So, and you can buy those nice little packets of frozen ready-made veggies, can't you? So you could use a whole packet of those next time if you want to. And then you know you've always got something. So there are my red peppers and my orange carrots. And I've got my green peas. And I've got my yellow sweet corn. So what is the question here?
You're making 24.
Yes, it should make about 24. depending on how much pastry you've got and how many eggs and how many vegetables, about 2 trays, yeah. But if you've only got 1 tray, then just cut out your pastry. You'll make it all. We'll cut out your pastry and fill the holes for 1 tray, and then you can come back and do a second batch later, okay? Can you sit the pastry in a pot of water to defrost? Yeah, you can, but it will get quite soft, and then it might be a little bit harder to roll. So definitely try it and see how you go. It should still be, if you can see mine, I've just taken mine out of the fridge. It's a little bit squishy, but it's still quite firm. Hi, Zach and Jasmine. So another tip, actually, because one of you were asking me this morning, when do you take your pastry out? It does depend on the brand, but I usually take mine out just before I want to use it, only maybe 5 minutes before, because otherwise it gets quite soft and can get a bit sticky, especially in the heat to roll. So puff pastry is much, much easier to roll from cold than lots of other different pastries. So like short crust pastry you wouldn't want so hard, it'd be really hard to roll, but this one's quite easy, okay? So I'm gonna put my knives out the way. So remember, when we're not using them, we're always gonna put them right in front. Oh, I've got my coloured veggies. And when we finish with all of our things, we're gonna hold them like this, pointing down. I'm gonna take them to the sink, okay? Clunk. Right. You are using leeks. Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, you could use onions. Actually, red onions would be good in here, wouldn't it? You'd definitely see the colour. Do you need to preheat the oven? Yes, please. Do preheat the oven. You want it on about 200 fan or 220 regular, which on a gas oven is probably going to be about gas 6. If you're hot, I know 1 or 2 of you have got gas ovens, and I keep forgetting to double check that. Right, so I'm going to put all of my veggies out the way so you can see I've got lots of nice veggies. And then when you have done your veggies and you're all prepped, I know some of you have already been prepped, then just give me a thumbs up and let me know. Yeah, that's okay. I know I've done mine a bit earlier, so I'm waiting for you guys. It's fine. I just want to show you because I know some of you have got different veggies, and then I can show you all the different ways, and then you're good to go. Can you see my carrots? Of course you can see my carrots. So let me show you these. So I've just chopped them. The idea is that they should all be the same sort of size. So like if I put them there with my sweet corn, you can kind of see what I'm after, okay? So a bit like that. And it's really good practice, this kind of stuff, because it's good for knife skills. And like I said, if you've got, let me take this back a bit and I'll show you. So if you've got that big knife, let me get my big knife. So if they're a bit too big, Pavan, and you always think they're too big, hi Raj, you can just take your knife, so hold the top and hold the handle like normal, and then just go up and down like that. Can you see, and chop? Now, those of you also that got mezzaluna, which I think I might have showed you, which is like that. So this is mezza means half in Italian, and luna is the word for loon. It's a bit like a moon. So, and we're going to go across like this. So you can use this. Hi, I hope I got that. Elena and Joseph, you're good to go. Fantastic. So you can just do this backwards and forwards with all your veggies. Oh, I've got Megan and Elsie on the emojis, on the rainbow emojis. Perfect. Or not rainbow today, only the right colours. Exactly. So can you see there? And if I show you that knife, you can see you can really get it nice and small, and then just carefully use your finger and just scrape it off like that. So lots of different ways to practice chopping. You know I like my gadgets, and you do too. Hi Arian, Keshav, Harry and Becca. Fantastic. Good. So I think most of us are good with the veggies, okay? So I'm just going to put mine on a board here and push them out of the way so we've got a bit of space. Now we're going to roll our pastry now. So I'm going to talk to you about different pastries for those that've got different ones, so that's fine. What I'm going to get you to do is just make sure that in front of you you've got a little space and it's fairly clean. So any bits of carrot and stuff, if you've made a mess like this, just pop them in the bin and just make sure it's not wet, because wet on the table is going to make everything sticky. Hi Autumn, you're ready. Good. Okay. So those of you doing phyllo pastry, it's going to be slightly different. Those of you doing wraps, it's going to be pretty much the same. Obviously you don't have to roll your wrap out, but you're going to do the same. So slow down. Sorry, Joe. Give me a thumbs up. Are you nearly there? Just let me know. So I tell you what, while we're waiting for a second, do I want herbs? You could put herbs in, that would be nice. If you've got like chives or something growing in your garden, that would be nice. Or basil or whatever you've got, parsley or anything like that. So let me just talk to those of you that have got wraps. So those of you with wraps, what you're going to do is, instead of rolling out your pastry, because you don't need to roll out your wraps, you're going to do exactly the same. So you're going to cut circles. You want to push quite hard and wiggle. If they're not coming out, take a pair of kitchen scissors and just cut those round. So you still want the same circles to fit in your jam tart tin, okay? For those of you that have got phyllo, you're still chopping carrots, that's all right. For those of you that got phyllo pastry, and we might have used that before, what you want to do is open it up one sheet at a time. You want to take some oil and brush it, and then you can put another sheet on top, and then cut it into squares that are a little bit bigger than this, and then you can just push the squares down into the hole. And sometimes what you can do, let me see if I can show you with, I'm going to tear up a little bit of my paper and show you, okay? So, have I got a question? Hi, Emma. Nothing like doing this on the fly, huh? So imagine that you've got your phyllo pastry into strips and you cut it kind of into squares a bit like that. So you're going to put one in like that, so you can see it's kind of gone most of the tin, and then you put the other one across it like that. And you kind of keep overlapping until you've kind of covered it and you've got a bit of a tart case, I suppose. Now, don't worry about these bits that stick up the side. That's absolutely fine, okay? You just want to keep brushing each layer so it's like glue and it sticks together. And then don't leave your pastry out for too long because it will dry out, so pop that back in the fridge. Okay, you've cut them in circles like jam tarts. That is perfect, absolutely perfect. Yeah, you can do that too. And just, you'll glue them together and then stick them in. Good idea. Okay, so a little bit of flour on your work surface. You're going to open up your pastry. Now, I'm not going to use all of my pastry, so I'm probably going to start with a half. And also, even if you want to make loads, if you're going to be a factory, I would suggest start with half because it will be take up less space in front of you and be easier. So I'm just going to use my knife and chop it in half, just like that. Right. Do you need to grease it? You shouldn't need to grease your tins. I put a bit of polenta. If you've got old tins and you think they'll stick, then yeah, you can put a little bit of grease in. So maybe just a bit of sunflower oil or something like that on a tissue or a bit of kitchen paper and just wipe the tins out, okay? Okay, so here's my pastry. And like we always do, like we did the other day, those of us that did jam tarts together, we always make sure that everything's floured. So we're just going to turn our pastry over a few times in the flour. This is really nice, well-behaved pastry. It shouldn't get sticky, so you don't need a lot of flour, okay? And then I'm just going to take a little bit more out because I'm going to show you on the camera what I'm going to do with the other stuff. And then you also want to give your rolling pin a bit of a wipe. What is the egg for? The egg is to make the custard. We're going to use the egg in a minute, so don't worry. So can you see I've got like a dirty rolling pin? I've got a bit of flour on my table, and I've covered all of that with flour as well. So that's what you want. And then what you're going to do is just slowly roll it out. So you're going to push it, and when you start rolling puff pastry, you find you get this kind of weird shape, like it's hugging the rolling pin. So then you turn it over, and you roll it the other way. So like that, I'm going to pick it up again, turn it round. So I'm always rolling, like one will be the long way. Can you see there? So I've got a nice long strip, and then I'm going to turn it and do it that way. And you want it quite fine. If you've got ready rolled, then you're good to go. Sometimes I stretch out the ready rolled a little bit more as well. And if it's starting to stick, just use your hand, spread a bit of flour around. You don't need a lot. But if anything sticks to your rolling pin, take a little bit more flour and keep putting it on top. So that's why I was saying don't take the pastry out too early. Is it still frozen? If it's a bit frozen, it will take an hour or so. It's not going to take long. Just leave it out somewhere and then come back to it. But when it's frozen, when it's got soft, you might find it's too soft to roll. So just put it back in the fridge a little bit, okay? Let me just do that. Stretch it out. So can you see? So it should be really nice pastry to roll, and you can use it for sweet, you can use it for savoury. Those of you that are dairy free, this is a good one too, because often, you can buy butter ones, but often they don't have any dairy in them at all. And can you see that? So it's getting bigger. So I want it quite thin, not so thin that I'm going to get a hole in it, but thin enough that it's going to be really lovely and flaky, because it does what it says on the tin. It's called puff pastry and it puffs up. You've got ready rolled, that's fine. So if it's ready rolled, put it on the table and you'll see, I don't know if I can show you that edge there. Yours is probably a bit thicker, so you can still give it a bit of a practice and stretch it out. Usually what happens is one packet, so actually if you buy a packet like this is 500 grams, and you'll find when you look at your pre-rolled one, it's usually about 300 or something. There's not as much pastry. But the idea is you want it as big as the baking tray. And this, my jam tart tin, is about the size of a baking tray. So you can see you should be able to roll it quite big. Okay. So those of you that have got pastry that's pre-rolled or you've rolled yours out, And those of us that have got, well, actually, the phyllo pastry guys, you're already cutting them in circles too. You're just going to start just like we did the other day and start as far to the corner, to the edge as you can. So if I show you, I'd put it there like that. And you want to push down and wiggle, and it will just jump out really nicely like that. And then you want to put the next one down, push down and wiggle, and get as many as you can out of the first roll. So keep putting your circles together. And you can see I use the round side. I don't use the fluted side because I find it easier. It doesn't get stuck as much, but either side is fine. So I'm just going to push and wiggle like that. The wiggle is the important bit. Push and wiggle. And you see, you get it all out. And I'm just going to keep going until I've got as many out of that first roll as possible. Because for all kinds of pastry, they don't really like to be re-rolled or handled too much. So I'm going to see if I can get 2 out of that bit. Maybe not. Okay. Now you can squish it up and have a little, you don't know if you have any cutters. If you don't have a cutter, then just use the side of a glass or like, I mean, not, you know, a lid, something like that. If you can use that to press, there's lots of things that you probably got at home. Okay. You know, jars. So you can see it gets a bit sticky when you put it together. If you've got hot hands, your hands will get a bit sticky. So I will take a bit more flour now, and I'm just going to roll that little bit out a bit more, okay? So you could go on forever. I know I gave you an idea of about 24, but it depends, as I said, how thin you roll your pastry. And you can always, this is a really flexible recipe. So if you've got more veggies, you can just put more veggies in and just add an extra egg. Or if you've got more pastry or you only want to make half, it really doesn't matter. So because this is my second roll, I'm giving it a bit more flour like that so you can see it. Roll my rolling pin in the flour as well. And then I'm just going to do that. So Sammy, if you've got a cup or something or a glass, that will work fine, okay? Or actually, if you've got like Play-Doh cutters or anything like that at home, as long as you clean them really well, you can use something like that too. Okay, perfect. So you can see I can roll it out, and it's pretty good, but I don't know if you can see there, it's got some lines on it, so it's never quite as easy the second time. And I'm just going to, again, get as many as I can, so that push and wiggle. So this is really nice pastry, isn't it? I love puff pastry. So easy to use to make all kinds of yummy things. And I'm just going to stretch that corner there so I can get one more out. There we go. And you can use these to make shapes or toppings and things like you guys did the other day. You did some really pretty shapes. So how many have I got here? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Thought I would. Perfect. So that's, I've got 12 out of half my piece of pastry, okay? So do you need to grease the tins? You don't, and if you think that your tins will stick a lot, then you can do. Just put a little bit of oil or butter on a bit of kitchen roll and just wipe them out. I'm going to use a bit of polenta to stop them sticking. The bit that really sticks that will not help with is when you get a lot of cheese or egg underneath. So it just helps not get so sticky in there. But metal tins, you will get a bit of stick always. So I'm going to take my polenta and I'm just going to give a little sprinkle like that over the tins. And when you finish with the polenta, what I'll show you is you can eat it, and you'll see what I mean if I try and find one. There we go. So you can see it's completely dry at the bottom, and I don't know if you can see it because I only put a tiny bit in, maybe a little bit there. When you rub it with your fingers, you'll feel a bit of grit. It feels a bit like sand, and that's just the bit that stops. It will absorb any liquid, basically, so to stop us getting a soggy bottom. Okay, so I've got those. And don't worry if I'm a step ahead of you. And then we're just going to take our pastry circles and we're going to lay them down in our tins. So if you've got phyllo or if you've got bread wraps that you cut up, you're going to do exactly the same as me. And if you're using like, you know, ham or bacon, like we said, to do as an edging, you could do that now too. And you're just going to make sure, it's really important here, that you make a really nice high wall up the side, okay? So they're kind of even. Are you watching it? It's still frozen. I know it will take a bit of time. Don't worry. Don't worry. If you've got the ready rolled stuff, it will defrost a bit quicker. But on a day like today, honestly, it won't take long, I promise. You could have them still for lunch or definitely have them for supper. So you'll be a whiz. When you've watched this, you won't need to watch the video back later. You'll know exactly what to do. Okay. So I'm just going to show you these. So I'm just pushing them all in. And if you ever take a little bit of pastry and you think it's too small, you can just use your fingers like this, stretch it. And then when you put it into the tin, like that one is a little bit smaller, you can just use your fingers to push it, make it grow back up the sides, okay? And part of the reason I like metal tins is because pastry is always this sort of colour, isn't it? So you know that if you press it too much and you get a hole, you'll see it because it will start to look grey inside your tin. So there are mine, can you see? And you'll fill yours however you want. So I'm just checking that I've got nice little walls all the way around, because we want to keep the egg and the custard inside and not get to the bottom. Right, so there are mine. Okay. So I'm just going to clean my flour, and a little tip for you is before you clean your table or wherever you're working later, don't put a wet cloth on, because remember, water and flour just makes it, you're watching too, Sammy, water and flour just makes it really soggy, and you end up getting like horrible dough on your work surface. So you can do what I'm doing and just use your hands and scrape all the extra bits off. Or the best thing, because my hands are dirty, best thing is get a little dustpan and brush. I have a really cheap one from like the pound shop or IKEA or something, and I just use it to scrape my table, and that really works well. Okay, so there you go. So give me a thumbs up when you guys have got your tin all full of pastry, and then I'll show you what's next. You are just watching, you're watching. Okay, the watching gang, I know. That's okay, good. You can be the watching gang. You can be the expert gang later. And puff pastry, actually, if you have it in the freezer, like if you remembered, or I don't know when you bought it, whatever, but just take it out before you go to bed in the evening, and by the morning it'll be absolutely fine. And then if it's a bit too soft, just shove it in the fridge just to firm up for a little bit, okay? Good. You guys, I think some of you are nearly finishing. So I'm just going to put this to one side, okay? So we're getting excellent. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grate my cheese. So I'm going to get everything ready so that then when I put it in the tins, it will be fine. So you're on the next step. So take your cheese. So I like these graters, as you know, because they're nice and flat, and you've got a little ring at the bottom, so they're not going to slide around. But we don't grate like this because my fingers are close. So we're going to grate always from the highest point. Okay. So we're just going to grate like that. And I've said about 75 or 100 grams of cheese. It depends if you're cheese monsters. And if you grate too much, what I love about these graters is you just keep them at the bottom. What have we got? You've got fresh peas. Oh, fresh peas be fine. No, just pod them and put them in. Love fresh peas. Delicious. Hi, Tanjeeb. Hi, Raj. So I'm just grating my cheese. And when you get to the bottom, so that we don't grate fingers, you could put your hand on top like this, lift your fingers up, and just keep going, okay? So I always cut more cheese than I need so that I know I don't have to worry about getting right to the bottom and grating my fingers, okay? And some of you might have grated cheese already, I don't know. You can use different cheeses. If you've got little bits, odds and sods in the fridge of different cheese, use that. We've got a nice red Leicester in there that would be nice orangey colour too, so you can do whatever you want. So I'm lifting my hand, can you see? Just doing the last bit. How much cheese? About 75 to 100 grams, I think I said to you. Yeah, let me just double check. Yeah, perfect. It's a really flexible recipe, so I'm giving you quantities because I know some of you like them, but you'll see when we assemble it, you can do whatever you've got. So the last bit I'm not going to worry about too much. I'm just going to put all of that in there. So I grated just under 100 so that I've got plenty. But as I said, if I don't use all of the cheese, I'm just going to leave it in there, or just put it back in the fridge, or I might make some more tarts. That's why it's a flexible recipe. Right, you don't have the ingredients yet, but you're going to go shopping. Oh, that's okay, that's fine. You probably got a lot of this stuff. So I always say, if you can, puff pastry is really handy to have. So pop it in the freezer, and then you've just got cheese and vegetables, whatever you've got in the fridge. How much cheese? About somewhere between about 75 and 100 grams, Alfie, okay? I've got 100 grams here because we like cheese. So it's up to you. And that's why I say same with the milk and stuff like that. You can use milk, you can use creme fraiche, you can use cream if you've got like little bits left over at the end of a carton or something. Whatever you've got is absolutely fine, okay? So we've got all the prep. So this is another good example, isn't it, of getting super ready. So we've got our tart cases prepped, we've got our veggies chopped, we've got our cheese grated, and then the last bit we're going to use the egg, whoever asked me about the egg, and we're going to make our custard, okay? But I'm just going to wait a minute for you guys to grate your cheese. And then you guys that are one step ahead of me already, you can get out your jug. I'll just put all my stuff here. I've got my jug, my milk, my eggs, and I've got a bit of seasoning. So I'm going to use a bit of mustard and some salt and pepper, but you can use whatever you want, okay? And when I say seasoning, I'm probably not going to put in any salt. I'm probably just going to use some pepper. Okay. So give me a thumbs up when you're done with your cheese, and then we'll be ready to do our custard. I'm actually going to put that out of the way, and then you can see what I'm doing. Good. Good, good, good. And you know, the other reason I always give you more cheese is probably, I'm sure some of you have already been munching this, haven't you? So if you've been munching this, that's okay. Joe, you all right? You can give me a little thumbs up or just tell me that you're okay. I don't want to go too quick for anybody. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to measure out. Now, this is a good thing. So on your, if you've got a jug, you'll see it's got all these nice little lines, and you know that we measure liquids in milliliters, or you can measure them in pints. So I want 150. So you can see that there. So you could measure it by eye on there, or you could put it on your scales, just like we always do, and set that to 0. Make sure the unit is on milliliters, and you can weigh it. So weighing it is a bit more accurate than just using your eye here. Am I fuzzy? Why am I fuzzy? Is that better? Was I maybe a bit close? So we just need 150 milliliters of milk or cream or whatever you're using, or you can use half and half. So if you've got a small bit of cream, you can pop that in. I have frozen. Oh, okay. Hold on. Back now, that's strange. I just went to check the Wi-Fi, which was fine, but I'm hoping you can see me. It still says live here. Give me a thumbs up if you can see me and I'm not frozen. We're back on. Good. Okay. Sorry about that. Not sure what that was. Strange. Good. Okay. Right. So let me just recap if I froze there. So we need 150 of milk or cream or a mixture of both. So you can do it by eye just on your jug. You can see me. Fantastic. Good. And 150 mils of milk or cream. So I'm just going to weigh mine, but you can see it's actually interesting. So if I weigh it, let's see what the scales say for 150, and then we'll see what it looks like on the jug. Well, it's just different practice, isn't it? There we go. Yeah, it's pretty much bang on. So that's 150, if you can see there. That's the problem. Where it's shaking there, that's the problem in reading off always. But about 150, okay? So that's what you need. So you don't need your scales, I just took mine out to show you. And then in here, you're going to add in 2 eggs. So if those of you that want to practice egg separating, you can. So remember, we're going to tap, tap on the side. And if you've got a nice glass jug like mine, it's going to be really easy. If you've got a plastic jug, give it a bit of a harder whack until you can hear it and you get a nice big crack. And then because I'm going to try and practice separating, we're going to lift the hat off like that. All the white is dropping, can you see? Whoop, plop. And then I'm going to pour from this one to this one. So I'm going to pour my yolk in, and then the rest of the white goes. Can you see I've got my yolk? I'll just pop that back in. You don't need to. So if you just want to do a normal one, then tap, tap, tap. See that nice crack? I'm going to put my thumbs in, and I'm going to open it up with the hole pointing down so that my egg drops into my bowl. Ready? And open. There you go. So just 2 eggs. So pop 2 eggs in your jug. I know we're going to be experts. By 10 weeks, we're going to be experts at egg cracking and knife skills and all kinds of other things. Perfect. Now I'm going to put a bit of mustard just to season it. So I'm going to put like a little end of a teaspoon or half a teaspoon. Ooh, have a swiff of, makes it wake up your nose this morning. So I'm just going to shake that in like that. And then I'm also going to put in a little bit of pepper. So if you want to season yours, you can do. So just a little grind like that. And then I'm just going to mix it up. So you can use a fork or you can use a spoon, whatever you want, until we get it all nice and yellow, one colour, and that yolk is all broken up. Okay, so till it looks like that. Okay, what is in the jug? So 2 eggs. 150 mils of milk or cream or whatever you've got, creme fraiche, something like that, and a little bit, I put a bit of mustard in and a bit of seasoning. If you're using double cream, it's exactly the same, so just do 150. It's 150 mils of liquid, so yours will be richer because you're using cream, and it's always good to use up what you've got. The egg spurts, I love it. We've got lots of egg jokes coming. I feel that we may have some more egg jokes. Excellent joke, I think. Right, so I'm just gonna, the expert here dribbled on her table, so I'm gonna do that. So if you're using double cream, we did that one. Okay, perfect. Right, so you basically should have everything ready to go, and now is the fun part that we're going to assemble it. So you should have all your chopped veggies, all your grated cheese, and all of your little custard. This is cracking. Do I have to laugh at all of these? That is no joke. Oh dear, here we go, here we go. Okay, are we going to have a bad joke prize? Okay, moving swiftly on. I'm going to take, is this, by the way, is this the grown-ups with the bad jokes, guys? It's not my amazing chefs, is it, who are going, yeah, I'm going to have some crying faces in a minute at how bad the jokes are. Right, so take out your little tart tray with all of your pastry cases, please. And we're going to line up the veggies first. This is where we're going to have a bit of fun. So remember, we're doing traffic lights, so we want a bit in each hole. So I'm going to do a little dribble of peas. We're going to have some joke about peeing on the tarts, aren't we? So when I say a little bit, remember I've got quite a few different veggies to put in. So can you see I'm only literally putting a few in. So normally I say be generous, but I'm actually going to use fingers because it's easier. Just a few, a little pinchy in each. But today I want you to be a bit mean because otherwise we won't have enough space to get everything in. So a little pinch of one colour. So this is good if you're doing it together. If you've got some helpers, some sisters, some mums, some dads, then you can do a colour each or something. So there's my green. And then I'm going to go straight in for my next colour. So I'm going to do these. So I'm going to put in my orange, just a little sprinkle there. How many eggs? 2 eggs, Edward. So 2 eggs, 150 ml of your cream or your milk, whatever it was, and a little bit of mustard or salt and pepper, whatever you want, just to flavour it so it's not too bland. So this is where you can just mix and match. And this is, sometimes I find that I've got a bit too many veggies and I might make some more tarts, because remember I've got another half of my pastry as well. So if you're doing like me, just one at a time, don't worry if you haven't used up all your veggies. So there's my second colour. And then I'm going to go for my red, I think, because I haven't got so much red. So this is a good one to check all the colours, that you've got everything in there. And a good one to use up all of those little bits that you've got in the fridge. And those of you that like peppers, you could actually do the whole thing with peppers, couldn't you? You could get traffic light colours just with the peppers. And those of you doing courgettes, that would be yummy too. So there's my third colour. And then I'm going number 4 for today. So my last one is my sweet corn. And remember, we need to make space for the cheese and for the custard, so that's why I don't want you to be too generous. A bit like those of you that did the frittatas with me, same kind of thing, but this is trickier because we've got a pastry case. So I'm saving this for week 10 when you're all expert chefs, huh? Right. So there are mine, just so I've done a bit quickly, just so you can see. So I've left space for the cheese and for the custard, okay? I've got some that have jumped out the side, so I'll move those in. Okay? Perfect. So when you're all done with your veggies, give me a thumbs up. And like I said, if you've not used them all, don't worry. I mean, like I opened up a small tin of sweet corn. I'm never going to use all of that, but we'll have it for lunch and we'll do it some other time. You've got some escapees. Oh yes, Helen, very good. Now that must mean that you are a fan of Sweet Potato. Who loves the Sweet Potato books and the Evil Pea? Because there are escapees on the loose. I love those books. I read them at my preschool classes. They're very good. Lots of fun. I don't know if that's a thumbs up that you're ready or a thumbs up for liking Sweet Potato. Could be both. If you don't know and you haven't got the Sweet Potato books, you can buy some. They're quite funny. You got some SK? Yes, I know. Good. Okay. Perfect. So I'm just going to wait a minute until everybody's good with those. And then if you're good, you can get this ready and your cheese. We're going to go cheese on top. So we're playing hide and seek. And what we're going to do, I'll just show you this for those of you that are ready. We're just going to take a little pinch and we're going to pop it on top of, yeah, you got the books. I know, they're lovely. I think there's like 3 or 4 of them, maybe even more now, aren't there? So we're just going to put a few bits on the top. So if I show you what I've done here, I'm just playing hide and seek. Can you see these ones here that I've hidden with the cheese? Oh yes, I can see that Faye's got it. Mwaha, that's a definite evil pea noise, isn't it? Okay. And if you like pea, if you like books on peas, you must have read the Nick Sharratt book on which is called Peas, isn't it? Where Mummy and the little girl are having an argument, aren't they? Because the little girl doesn't like peas and Mummy doesn't like Brussels sprouts. So you can try that one. Right, so I've got more cheese, so I'm just putting a little bit of extra cheese in my holes because we like cheese, and I know you're cheese monsters. And then if you've got any left over, Chef's Perks, you'll be able to eat it later. But remember, I'm only doing 1 tray at the moment if you're doing 2. So if I was doing more, which I might do later, I just roll all my stuff out, put 1 tray in the oven, and then keep the rest of the custard. And then when that's out and I want to have more later, it's just really easy to assemble it, okay? So that's kind of what they should look like. So lots of lovely veggies that you can't really see because they're all hidden by a blanket of cheese. So, you always have an evil pea in your jelly. Oh, I hope not. I know they do have an evil pea in the jelly, but that's a bit like the princess and the pea, isn't it? When you find the pea in the mattress, maybe you'll find a pea in your jelly. That's quite cool. So, right. So give me a thumbs up when you're all cheesed and vegetabled up. How thick should the pastry be? It was like a few millimeters. If I take, excuse me for taking something out of the bin, but just to show you, can you see there? So if you've got the ready rolled stuff, you'll find it's a little bit thicker. So you don't want it, if I stretch it like that, can you see, you don't want it so thin that it's going to break. And like there, you'll get a hole in, but you don't want it super thick, like, I don't know, that would be too thick, okay? Because you want it to be nice and thin and squish it up a bit. Okay, lovely, fantastic. Right, so now is the tricky bit. So you've got your egg custard, so you can give it a little whiz again just to make sure it's all nice and mixed up. And what you want to do, and I do this a bit slowly, I'm going to try and hold this so I can show you, is I pour a little bit in until it starts to go right to the bottom of the tin, okay? Because the egg is going to cleverly fill in all of those little gaps that you've got, but I don't want to pour too much. So I'm just going to pour a little bit, go around all the holes, and then when all of that egg has sunk in, I'm going to come back and see which one needs a bit more. So remember, we want to keep the egg in between those walls, the pastry walls that we've done. And the same for you guys that've got phyllo pastry or wraps, it's exactly the same. So what you can do, a little tip from me, is where you've got a little gap at the side, like if I lift that up, I think all my egg's going to go. If you can find a little hole, you want to pour the egg into the kind of hole bit first, because that'll make it a bit easier. And try not to dribble, because we don't want that soggy bottom, do we? Yeah. Don't worry, I'm going to slow down, because there's lots of time for you guys to do it. Lots of time. So I know some of you come pre-prep, so you're waiting, and some of us are just, it's okay. Remember, I'm quicker than you, because I've been doing this for a bit. So you can see, so I've still got egg left, because obviously I've only used half of my pastry. So basically you're going to pop all of your veggies into your tart tins. I'm actually, because I've done mine, I'm actually going to pop these into the oven, and then I'll take them out and you can have a little look. So I'm just going to carry this, so you have to have a very steady hand and carry them really back over to the oven. Right. So you're going to pop all of your veggies in the tins first. And then when you've shared them out, but you don't need to use all of them, because if you're using like 1 tray at the moment, you might want to keep some veggies back to make your next batch, about 20 minutes. So about 20 minutes in the oven till they're nice and golden. And they look amazing when they come out. That's what I was hoping to show you. When they really puff up, they look fantastic. So you pop all of your veggies in, making sure that you're going to leave some space for the cheese. And then you're going to go on top with the cheese, so you kind of play hide and seek with your veggies. And then when you've done that with all the cheese, you're going to take your jug and really slowly you're going to dribble in the egg. And the egg is basically like glue. So what we want to do is we want the egg to fill in all of those little gaps that we have around the veggies. And then the egg is going to set like the glue and hold it all together. You want on the cheese topping, that's fine. I know, I just wanted to show you for those of you that are a little bit ahead, and you can get started. I should probably roll my second bit out now, shouldn't I? I could do that while you're doing that. Perfect. So let me do that. I'll get my rolling pin back. So we'll have another quick demo while you're doing that, and then I can do more of these. And they freeze really well. So can you see now, this is actually quite good. This has been out for a bit, and you can see how soft it is. What temperature for the oven? 200 fan or 220. So I put it on quite a high oven, and then that way it's going to puff up quite nicely, quite quickly. So if you want these, when they come out of the oven, they're obviously cooked. So, you know, it's not raw egg or anything. So you can have them room temperature, or if you want to have them hot again for lunch, then maybe just do them for like 15 minutes now so they're cooked. Leave them in the tray and then just put them back in and warm them up a bit later. So those of you that asked about how thick the pastry was, you can see like that. So I'm going to show you again. I'll just do a few more. And I'll need to get another tray out, but then you'll be able to see. Right. Back with the emojis. Does that mean, Elsie and Megan, that you nearly done? So if you have done it, and don't worry, because I know I'm a bit faster than most of you, you can pop it in the oven. Anything else you can do if you're allergic to eggs? Yes. So I would use tofu. So you want the soft tofu that you can, because this is not, so let me back up a bit. Usually, if you're allergic to eggs, we use an egg replacer, like chia seeds or something like that in a cake, or the all bran or flax seeds or anything like that, and that works absolutely fine. But obviously for something where the main ingredient is eggs like this, then the best thing to do is if you Google like vegan egg scramble, you'll see what people do with tofu. So basically you have, it's like that squishy block of tofu, and you blitz it with a food processor. It sounds really weird. And you can add in a bit of something like it's the B12, what's it called? Engevita, which is like a yeast. It's a natural yeast, and it flavours it a bit. We could put a bit of stock in, and then you just use that in here as well. And you'll have the sticky stuff that comes together from the cheese as well. So I hope that helps. You could try, I've not tried it with the stuff that you can use for eggless meringues, you know, the aquafaba, which is the water from chickpeas, but usually you have to beat that up. So you could try beating that up, but I would go with the tofu because I know that one works. And it's a really good idea. So if you're all having scrambled eggs and she can't have, then you can try that. Can you freeze them, Debbie? Absolutely, yes. So bake them first and then freeze them. So that's what I would do. So that's what I do now usually, is I kind of put them in batches, because you might as well do a big one rather than leave like half a pastry in the fridge. Or you could use this for something else. So those of you that were asking me how thin it was, can you see? So it's not quite as big as a whole tray, but it's pretty good. Yeah, I've got another one down there. Right, I'm just getting another tray out so I can show you this. So I don't know, Sarah, if you're making it now, I don't know if you've got any tofu. It would, you could just leave it with a bit of milk and cheese, and it would set a bit, but not as much. So if you've kind of made this recipe, then go with that. So there's my other tart tin. I'm just going to do some more little circles while you are going as well. So if you've been doing 24, that's why I'm a bit quicker than you, because I only did half because I wanted to show you first. But you can see. So isn't this pastry lovely? It's so quick to work with. So I'm just going to pop that in there. Actually, I'll do a little experiment with this tin. I'm not going to put any polenta in, and we'll see how it comes out. So, oh, that's nice. Hayden and Elsie and Megan are all saying hi to each other. How nice. You're going to have to swap photos, guys. And we can have a little chefy competition. There we go. Or you could have a picnic. You'll be able to have a picnic soon together, and you can take all your stuff out there, can't you? Perfect. So I've nearly got my 12. So this is like going to be a quick recap of what you do. So again, if you've got leftovers, squish them up. You've done 24. Okay, well that's why I was quicker than you, because I cheated. I only did half. So if you guys are all ahead on the 24, you're ahead of me now. So as soon as you get your eggs in, you want to get the tray in the oven, because we don't want the egg to soak and give us a soggy old bottom. So you pop those in the oven for about 20 minutes until they're all nice and puffed up, and then they'll come out looking like that, okay? Now, just to loosen them up, I usually either just use a teaspoon just to dig down the side of my baking tray, or you can use a table knife and just cut them out, but they should come out really nicely like that, okay? If a bit sticks, it's just like I said, you've got a bit of dribble of egg down the side and the egg's just set to the baking tray, it will come out, okay? Just be persistent with it. So I need 3 more, don't I? So I need my 3, 1, 2, and my last one. And those of you, like I said, that have got leftovers, you can put little bits on top. They can set the timer, brilliant. That's a good thing. So you can use this for whatever. What I suggest you do though is not play with it for too long, because if you play with it for too long, you can see already it gets sticky and then it gets really stuck to your hand. So it's a lovely pastry except for when you play with it too much, okay? So that is a good idea, Faye. Good for all those number skills as well. So you set the timer so it's got a nice loud ring so you'll hear it if you've gone off into the garden. So there are mine. And then just like before, so I'm just going to use up the rest of my veggies. So like now, if I've got loads more corn, I might find that I put more corn in these ones than the other ones. So give me, if you've basically done all of yours and you've got your 24 and you're all good to go and they're in the oven or you're going in the oven, give me a thumbs up. So let me know if it's me that's the slow coach today. So I've got some carrots. You can be like a production line, can't you? Can you see? Just chucking it all in. Get my bits there. And then peas. So like I said, you could put little bits of meat in or any vegetables that you've got. If you had like cooked something for dinner with extra cooked vegetables, they're good in there as well. If you're doing things like broccoli, just make sure you chop them up really small. So you want this sort of pea and sweet corn size so that they all cook at the same time. So there's my stuff. In goes my cheese. I think I was quite generous with my cheese in the other one, so I might need a little bit more. So you can see second tray will be so much quicker, won't it? You can be like literally your own factory, producing little mini tarts. How are we doing? There we go. Oh, look, perfect. I finished all my cheese. And then if you ever get to the end like this, we'll see whether all my egg works. If you don't have enough, then just crack an extra egg and just add a little bit of milk and just until you've got enough custard to fill up all the holes. So it's a good one if you're ever practicing like separating eggs and you have a bit of an accident and you've got a scrambled egg like this. You can use it for these kind of tarts or the frittatas or regular scrambled egg, whatever you want really. Oh, look, perfect. It doesn't always work that way, but today it did. So there you go. So there's all my stuff. Is the carrot cooked? I didn't cook my carrot. I did suggest on how long do they go in for? About 20 minutes until they're nice and golden. Like I said, if you want to have them hot again later, so if you're not having them, so like these are room temperature, so I would eat these now just like this. But if you want to warm them up, then maybe put them in for like 15 minutes, put them back in the oven later for 5 and just warm them through. Can you roll the bits flat again? Yes, you can. You can absolutely do that. So sorry, Debbie, I was saying for the carrot, sometimes what I do, particularly if you've got one of those plastic knives like I had, it's easier to cut it when it's lightly boiled. You don't need to, it cooks fine in the oven. So then I would just literally boil the carrot for a couple of minutes till it was a bit softer, let it cool, or just run it under cold water till it's cold, and then you'll find it easier to cut, okay? But if you've got like the frozen packets of veggies already, just defrost the thing and they're already chopped, so it's quick. 20 minutes, Marie, in the oven, okay? Until they're nice and golden. Maybe get them out at 10 past 11. Yeah, so definitely put them in now, because whenever you've got egg, you don't want to leave the egg around because it will just start to soak through the pastry and give you a soggy bottom. So just put them in. I think I said 20 or 25 minutes. That's how I put, yeah, I did. Just checking. So you could put them in for 15 or something now. They'll be absolutely cooked. Leave them in the tins and then you can just put them back in later. So like, there's no point in, we're going to eat these like this and just have them on a picnic, but there's no point in taking them out and then putting them back in the trays, okay? So that's all you want to do. And when they come out, they do puff. Don't think mine are quite ready, but I might go and grab them and just give you a show to see what they look like in the oven. 1 second. So this is 10 minutes. So can you see how lovely and puffy they look? But you can see they're not golden and the pastry is still white. So it needs at least another 5 to 10 minutes. They will still be baked. I mean, you can see the egg's a bit wobbly. The pastry is definitely starting to bake, but just needs that bit of extra time until they look more like those ones down there. So I'm going to pop that back in. But they don't take long. Good. I hope that you can't wait for lunch. They do. So if, as I say, if they're out now and they're like this, just tip them out and you can have them warm or hot. If you want to have them in an hour or so, then just put them back in the oven or let them cool, tip them out and just eat them like I'm going to do like this. so that's absolutely fine. So once again, share the pictures, let me know how you got on, especially those of you that were trying it differently with phyllo pastry. It's really nice with phyllo, it's really crunchy and crispy. Hopefully you've got a few layers around there just to make sure that the case is nice and hard. And it's really nice as well with the bread does kind of bake hard. If you found it was a bit soft this time, one thing you can do is you can just press the bread in. You could put the bread in the oven to firm up for a few minutes and then put the filling in, but it should work just as it is. And yeah, so this is what I was going to say, is this is because I know a lot of you are back to school next week, or back to a bit more normal life. So this is the last of the free Saturday classes, and next week we kick off with our exciting new cook club. So the links are on the page, I'll pop it again. So I know some of you are already joining, so that's fantastic. So I'm really excited that you're still going to be cooking with me. Those of you that want to know a bit more, but it's kidscookclub.weebly.com, and you can read all about it and sign up. Anyone that would like to donate to FareShare, because this was actually the recipe that I did for FareShare. I did a little Instagram TV ad for them. So these were the little traffic light tarts. They were trying to do a sort of surplus supper thing so we could use up things that you've got in your fridge. So that's there too. And enjoy your lunch, most importantly. Exactly. Yeah, so anything like that you can use. And these ones, like those of you that asked me about freezing, that's what I would do. I would just batch these now that they're cool and just put them in the freezer, and you can freeze them. But they last really well in the fridge as well. So, all right, well, enjoy the rest of the sunny afternoon. I know they do smell good, don't they? I've been very restrained, Pavan. I haven't actually eaten any of these, but once I sign off now, I think I might have to dive in. So thank you so much for joining me. It's lovely to cook with you as always. Enjoy the rest of your sunny Saturday and let me know how you get on. Show me the photos. Let me know that they're really yummy and tasty. And I will see you guys all very soon. Take care. Bye.